Hello gamers, today we're going to be talking about a new game for me, but not just a new game, but a PlayStation exclusive game. Something that as an Xbox kid I missed out on a lot. That is one of the biggest downsides to Xbox and PlayStation exclusivity. And that is that there are some amazing games that people will just never play due to their preconceived notions of one console being better than the other. When, let's be honest, they're basically the exact same, really. You know, PlayStation kids will never get to play, like Halo, I guess? And maybe Sunset Overdrive. And Xbox kids miss out on games like Spider-Man, God of War, The Last of Us, the Horizon series, and the game that I'm talking about today, the Uncharted series. And I am starting with Uncharted 4. Now, you rightfully may be wondering, why are you starting with the 4th installment in a series? And well, the main reason is simply that the game was recommended to me the most. Also, I heard that this Uncharted is more narratively driven compared to the others. Plus, it was on special, so, you know, poor boy. Now, counting this game is a PlayStation exclusive, you may assume that I was playing it on a PlayStation. However, you would not be correct, as for the last couple of years PlayStation have also been releasing their games on Steam, which I have to say is very epic of them, and also very epic that it's not on the Epic Games Store. But hey, if you want to play all the exclusive games, get a PC, as PlayStation Studios will eventually release most of their games on Steam. And well, Xbox and Windows are both owned by Microsoft, so pretty good there. Unless, in fact, you play video games on a Mac. In that case, don't. Stop that. Immediately. I feel like I don't need to mention this, but I say that almost every time and still end up bringing this up, but this game just looks incredible. Especially later on in the game when you're going through the abandoned cities and ruins and stuff like that. It's just beautiful looking game. Molto bello. Now, the game starts off in an orphanage where you play as a young child named Nate, who has been left behind when everyone else goes off to a summer camp, Bible camp like thing. While sitting alone in his room, Nate sees a flashing light out of his window, immediately knowing that it is his older brother Sam signaling him. Sam, of course, was kicked out of the orphanage for bad behaviour. Nate takes to the roofs to meet his brother, and this introduces you, the player, to the climbing mechanics. Without going too in depth, it's very good. One of the best climbing systems I have played in a long time. I mean, it's not as fancy as Unity, but still pretty good. Also, one feature I like a lot is that when you play as Nate later in the game, when he's more older, his climbing sort of matches the way you would expect someone like that to climb. He's very clearly an expert and a very good climber, but also you can tell that he's older. And he spends more time than maybe a younger person would, making sure he's got good handholds and his movement is just in general a bit slower. After making your way through the roofs, Nate meets up with Sam, who informs Nate that he has a surprise, which is just outside of the compound walls. And to help Sam and Nate get out of the compound, Sam introduces us to the grappling hook, which makes a lot of sense as every game in this time had a grappling hook. This one being one of the better ones. Just like Just Cause 3. Just not as good as Just Cause 3's grappling hook. After getting over the final wall, Sam informs Nate that he has to move away for a bit as he's gotten a better high-paying job out of town. But before he goes away, Sam has found their mother's stuff, who has obviously passed away, unfortunately, at this time. And they're going to go steal it back from the person who brought it. However, before we get to see that, we get a flash forward by 15 years to Nate in a Panamanian, I think that's how you say that word, The people of Panama. Panamanian. Is that correct? Panamarian? Panaman? We're gonna stick with Panamanian.
Panamanian. The inhabitants of Panama in Central America are the Panamanians.
Nate is in a Panamanian jail, getting into a fight with another inmate to get himself put in the hole, which was all a part of his plan to search an abandoned part of the jail that just so happened to have a pirate locked up in it over 400 years ago. After searching the very old building, Nate finds a cross that he was looking for and then returns to jail to meet up with his brother Sam, who's also in the prison with him, and the money behind their current treasure hunt, a very rich man by the name of Rafe. After getting in another jail fight, the team get taken to the warden's office, where the warden is trying to arrange a bigger cut from Rafe, as he was paid and part of it and in on the plan. To which Rafe replies that he will give him a bigger cut and then proceeds to just kill him, which is questionable because once he lets you escape, what's he gonna do? You're out of there. But anyways, they then hatch their escape plan. However, during the escape plan, Sam ends up getting shot one jump before freedom, falling to his death.
Sam, no. No, you hold on! Hold on! Sam! Give me your other arm! Come on, reach! No! Sam!
We gotta move.
Oh no, he's still down there!
No, he's gone. Come on, the boat's just beyond the wall.
No, I can't. Can't leave him behind.
Nate, your brother is dead. Either come with me or join him. Just have it your way.
Now, after an even larger time jump, we join Nate diving in a river looking for something. As it turns out, it was a truck trailer that had been lost after a bridge collapse. After Nate wraps around some ropes around the trailer, which by the way, very fun. I like that I physically get to wrap the rope around the trailer as many times as I like. Most games would be like, you don't even have to do it, or you do it once and it's done. Very cool. Anyways, once the truck is on the barge, they open the boxes inside the trailer to find copper wire, which Nate seems noticeably displeased at, even though it was a salvage job, but they surely would have known the contents of what they were salvaging before. After the job, Nate returns home to his wife, Elena, and then there is a segment where Nate is playing around in the attic with a Nerf gun. Now might be a good time to add that going from current time all the way back to the Panamanian prison segment, all the other Uncharted games take place in between those two time periods. But anyways, it's the next day and Nate is in the company office when his older brother Sam miraculously returns from the dead and explains how the guards tended to his wounds, and after that basically locked him up and threw away the key to avoid the embarrassment of what happened on that day. After Nate recaps his life up until the point where Sam informs him that the only reason he escaped the prison was that he was put in a cell with the biggest drug lord from Panama who helped him escape. However, in return, he has to find the treasure that they were originally there looking for, the treasure of one pirate by the name of Henry Avery, the one from all those years ago. Now, Nate tells Sam that he gave up on the hunt for that treasure after the prison. However, Rafe brought the Church of St. Dismas based on what Nate found in that prison cell from the dead pirate. And Rafe has been digging and blowing up that church for over a decade now and is still yet to find anything. This is where Sam says that the problem was that the cross they found in the prison was empty and broken. Sam had gotten word that there is a fully intact cross going up for sale at a private auction. So Nate gives his old friend slash father figure Sully a call, who was able to get himself an invite. However, Sam and Nate would have to sneak into the party. Now, I'm just going to jump in here and say that so far we're only at the start of the game's story, like maybe an hour in. So now I'm going to try to speed run a lot of it here. So let's just go through the story as quick as we can, but still commenting on My favourite points, the most important points. So after stealing the cross and escaping gunfire from the guards of the event and the private army that Rafe had hired to help him, they follow the cross's clues to the church in Scotland that Rafe brought. However, the cross leads them not to the church but to a graveyard near the convent. After finding the tombstone for one of Avery's known aliases, it opens a passage, and after following it and passing some tests along the way, there is, however, no gold to be seen. There is a clue that leads them to Madagascar, to the fictional town of Kings Bay, where there are a bunch of towers which have the crests of a bunch of different pirates in each tower, leading up to a final compound of sorts. And after searching this final compound, there is no gold, but a map of all the towers scattered around Kings Bay. With the clues, the team has deducted that the treasure has to be in one of the two towers, so they split up, with Nate and Sully taking the tower in the middle of the modern day town, and Sam taking one just on the outskirts of the town. Of course, the tower that Nate and Sully go to has the next big puzzle to be done. Of course, they're going to have the one with the big action piece because playable character and all that. After completing the puzzle with a little help from Sam from text messages, there is, of course, no gold, but another clue leading to a group of small islands, where the team believe that what they are looking for is a secret pirate city called Libertalia, which was real or believed to be real in real life. However, before they leave for the small islands, the team returns to their hotel room, where Elena is waiting to confront Nate for lying about the trip, as he said that he was going on a salvage job in Malaysia. They get into a bit of a massive fight that ends with Sully and Elena leaving them. Maybe Elena leaving Nate for good.
That treasure is as good as ours. Shit.
How's the Malaysia job going, Nate? Seems like you're a hair off course.
Elaine, it's not what it looks like.
Really? Because what it looks like is that you're searching for Henry Avery's buried treasure. And given the shoreline soldiers that are all over town, I'd bet you're not the only ones looking for it.
All right, well, I guess it's kind of what it looks like. But I can explain. Look, it's gonna sound crazy.
Try me.
Well, for starters, this is Sam. Sam Drake. My brother. Hi.
I'm sorry.
I thought he had died in a Panamanian jail, but I was obviously very wrong. He's been stuck in there for 15 years, and it's because of me. And the guy who broke him out wants a lot of money, and the only way we can pay off the debt is Avery's treasure. But that's the good news. We found it. It's on an island just off the coast.
Okay, just stop. Was there ever a Malaysia job?
Okay. Come on, wait. Elena, wait!
I don't get you.
Look, I wanted to tell you.
You know what? Enough.
No, I wanted to, but how could I?
I don't know. Just say it.
I had to protect you.
That is bullshit, Nate. You just didn't have the nerve to face me again.
I knew you would react like this.
How would you react? You lied to me for weeks. If you were killed, I wouldn't have even known about it. And now you have a brother. Who are you?
Come on. I'm me. Come on, it's me. It's different this time.
Oh my God.
I have to save him. I don't even care about the treasure.
the look on your face when you walked into this room. If you're done lying to me, then you should stop lying to yourself. I got a plane to catch. You do what you have to do.
But the brothers carry on, getting to the small cluster of islands, which has a large statue of Avery himself. And after exploring the island, there is of course no gold or anything of the sorts. But another clue! After solving a puzzle, the statue of Avery moves and holds up a large spyglass to his face. So Nate climbs the statue and looks through the spyglass, seeing another larger island off in the distance. So Nate and Sam get on their boat and start heading over when the private army I mentioned before that Rafe hired shows up and starts attacking them, to the point where their boat gets destroyed and Nate gets washed up on the island. And now he must go searching for his brother, as he was nowhere near when the boat ended up on the island, as the island is hit by a large and dramatic storm. After meeting up with Sam, they find the city of Libertalia, a city that looks very much like a city you might see in Black Flag, but richer. And after sneaking through the outskirts of the town, they then arrive at the town centre, which is an absolutely massive marble building looking like the White House or some very old rich university. And they make their way to the vault room, where there is, of course, no treasure. However, this time there is signs of a massive fight that broke out between the founders of the city and all the lower tier pirates who must have lived there, and it would seem that all the treasure which was once in this room had been moved to the rich part of town where all the founders live.
Oh, quite the crow's nest, huh? There it is. Just on the other side of the river. Now, what do you say we go? Rob from the rich, huh?
Called New Devon. However, before the brothers are able to get there, they are caught by the owner of the private army, a lady called Nadine Ross. And of course, Rafe is there with them too, where they shoot Sam and Nate and then proceed to push Nate off a cliff to his assumed death. Now, I'm just going to say this here. Neither of them die here. Rafe had kidnapped Sam to help him. As it turns out, the drug lord / prisoner that helped Sam escape actually died many years ago, and Sam was free for all those years. He, however, was working with Rafe to find the treasure. However, that's less important, just sort of saying that happens. They sort of brush over it for the most part, but I thought I would add that Nate actually never owed a debt to the Panamanian drug lord, however was working with Rafe to try to find the treasure. Nate, however, is then awoken at the bottom of the cliff in a river of some kind, being tended to by his wife, Elena, who came back with Sully to save Nate and Sam. Sully off somewhere in his plane. So the couple go looking for New Devon, with the thought that that is where Rafe and Sam would be going to. After making their way through the jungle and also making their way through many private army goons, they arrive in New Devon, and after sneaking through the decayed fancy homes of the founders, they find a bunch of them sitting dead at a dining room table with only 2 missing, those being the seats of Henry Avery himself and his right-hand man.
Looks like we found the party.
Looks like we're a little late. Hey, Nate. Check it out.
It's another sigil. Oh my god.
What?
It's them. Elena, these are the pirate captains that founded Libertalia. What the hell happened here?
Well, I'm no forensics expert, but I would say bad drinks?
Apparently.
So what was this? Some kind of wealthy pirate suicide cult?
Yeah, not likely. Not these guys.
On behalf of Lord Avery, I invite you to my manor at sundown tomorrow. The time has come to abandon our animosities and reunite under the banner of God and liberty. Signed, Thomas, too.
What do you bet? Thomas 2, Henry Avery. Looks like our hosts didn't stick around to clean up their mess.
Well, that wasn't very gracious of them.
Okay, so these guys sparked a full-scale revolt when they claimed the treasure for themselves. Now, they took care of the colonists, but then they had to deal with each other. And I'm guessing things got pretty messy. So, Avery and 2 invite them up here to,
abandon our animosities.
Abandon the animosities. Avery makes a grand toast. For God and liberty! Arg, ahoy, mateys, all that. And they all take a swig. Except these two. And just like that, all the treasure of Libertalia becomes the sole possession of 2 men. These are some of history's greatest pirates, and they all perished in an instant at this very table.
It's incredible.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
It's okay. So, since our missing hosts aren't here at Two's Manor,
We should head over to Avery's.
yeah. Let's go.
Next stop, Avery's house, which just so happens to already be swarming with the army guys, who I haven't mentioned up until this point, but they're called Shoreline. So I'm going to refer to them for Shoreline like the 2 other times I need to mention it by the end of this story segment. After entering the massive manor of Avery, we get ambushed by a bunch of Shoreline goons, and after fighting them all off, Nate finds himself in a tunnel that Avery would have used to mount his escape from his second in command with the treasure. Also, this escape cave does a very good job at showing how crazy Avery would have become in his later years, going from someone who built this pirate utopia to someone who was dismembering his enemies and hanging parts of their bodies in the cave with notes sort of related back to that part of the body. And this cave has more booby traps than, I don't know, something with a lot of booby traps. After getting through the cave and Elena playing fake dead on Nate for a little bit, they arrive at a graveyard of what has to be at least 100 pirate ships. This is where Nate and Sam see that they're still alive and well-ish. After fighting many goons, the 2 brothers reunite along with Elena and Sully. And against Sam's will, they all head back, start making their way back at least to the plane, where at the last moment, just before they're all about to leave, a couple 100 meters from the plane, Sam takes off going for the treasure, as he claims he now knows where it is. But so does Rafe, and he can beat him there. And then in the climax of the game, Sam and Nate end up on Avery's treasure ship. As the boat was set alight, Sam stuck under a pillar, somewhat unconscious in the boat's vault, where Rafe confronts Nate and they have a very epic sword fight in the burning down boat. After Nate gets the best of Rafe, Sam and him escape, with Sam filling his pockets with as much gold that he could get before leaving. Now, one thing I want to point out about this boat, yes, it was a very heavy boat. I don't know how it would float with just that much gold that they claim to be on there. Also, it's like in a mountain. There's like a little lake inside of a mountain. I don't know how he got the boat in there. I don't know how that Mr. Henry Avery planned to get his treasure boat out into the open sea, as it was in a cave, so there's no wind to push it along. Maybe the current flows that way, but I mean, it's a very small opening to get a very big boat out of. But anyways, I digress. Maybe it never would have worked. Maybe that's why he died. Anyways, now we're up to Epilogue, where you play as Nate and Elena's daughter, where you see that Nate and Elena are now living a happier life, having brought the salvage company that Nate worked for at the start of the story. And Sam and Sully have gone off to have some adventures of their own. So that concludes the very large segment of this video on the story of this game, which I found it to be very fun whilst playing it. And now, looking back, I still think it was a very good story. Now, I don't read or consume much treasure hunt style media apart from like Indiana Jones. So I can't say how original it is within the genre, but I still felt like it was a very entertaining story. And you could relate to some of the characters, or you could understand why they were doing what they were doing. Although, to be honest, I don't quite get why Sam was always so gung-ho on getting the gold so much. Especially when it was risking the life of him, his brother, his brother's wife, so on and so forward. Now, as I'm sure if you've watched any other video on this channel, I love my story in me video games. And personally, it's one of the most important things in a video game for me. However, gameplay is also super important. If I don't enjoy the mechanics of the game, no matter how good the story is, I probably won't play it. I'll just like watch a cutscene movie on YouTube or something. But this game has surprisingly good mechanics. And also something I very much want to add here is that there is a kind of large segment of the game where you are driving a Jeep. Now, when this chapter first started and I saw that we were going to get to control the Jeep, I was concerned, as I thought there's no way this game is going to have an even decent driving mechanic. But oh my god was I surprised. This game has one of the best driving mechanics for a AAA sort of title I've ever played that's not based around driving. This game not only has good driving mechanics, but the off-roading mechanics are incredible. I mean, it's no spin tires, but for a game that's meant to appeal to a large audience, it's probably as close as you're going to get to a game like Spin Tires. But at the end of the day, this is one of the best games I have played this year. It's for sure within the top 5. Hey, maybe at the end of the year, I'll make a video talking about all the games I've played this year. Who knows? But anyways, if you haven't been able to play Uncharted 4 yourselves, I would 100% recommend checking it out. That is, if you have a PlayStation or a PC. Unfortunately for Xbox, as I mentioned, you won't be able to. And I can't say anything about the older Uncharted games, as I haven't got around to playing them yet. I also think there's some newer ones after 4. I think it's sort of like a soft reboot with different characters. But I do look forward to checking those games out for myself, even if they aren't as narratively driven as this game. As there's nothing wrong with some stupid shoot 'em up games. They're a good old fun time.
At least you got to go for a swim. Did you find any exciting garbage?
No, it was brilliant stuff. It was a early 21st century truck we got. Apparently the natives called it a semi.
Oh dear lord.
So boring stuff.